Hi, my name is Attila Penalty, and you're listening to the Bigfoot Club podcast.
Hey guys, please go to our website at www.bigfootclubpodcast.com. Please check out our bios, please buy some merch, and you can listen to all our old episodes. Also, check us out on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can find us by typing Bigfoot Club #1. That's Bigfoot Club, the number 1. Also, if you have any strange stories or if you just want to reach out to us, please email us at bigfootclub, the number 1, at gmail.com. Also, check out Matt Knapp's Bigfoot Crossroads. He is on all platforms. Hey everybody, Robert Jesse Dominguez, Bigfoot Club, Season 4, Episode 25. Steven, what's going on, man?
It's going. It's just, it's one of those, I'm just glad it's Friday. Let's see it.
Yeah, it was a pretty rough week for us, wasn't it?
Yep. had to take one of the little ones to the emergency room because he had a croup.
Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
But he's doing better now, right?
Oh, he's doing a whole lot better. Thank goodness. But yeah, he was just, I never knew that you could croup, you cough from the throat.
Yeah,
like,
that
literally.
Yeah, whenever I heard him coughing, that was like, oh man, that sounded weird.
It was like a bark.
Yeah, it was like he was struggling to breathe, and I go, you better take him to the emergency room.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but he got a good old, his first steroid shot. Jesus Christ, I can't speak. Steroid shots on his thigh. He was not happy with that. He cried hard.
Yeah.
But, I told him, I said, hey, remember when Daddy hurt his back and they had to give me a steroid shot? He's like, oh, yeah, that was a big needle. I go, that's what you just had. That was a big needle. So, of course you're going to cry. Daddy wants to cry, too. Those suckers hurt.
Yeah.
But I started feeling better. Remember, I started walking, and he was like, oh, yeah. So he got a glow-in-the-dark sticker, so he's good.
Nice.
Yeah, he's fine.
Well, today, I'm pretty excited. We have, not in studio, but we have on.
She's in the studio right here.
No. She's on the line with us. Ashley Davis, author of children's books. Ashley, welcome to the club.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Ashley, this was a long time coming, right?
It was. I think we've been working on it for a little over a year.
Did you talk to her, I guess before you got sick?
Yeah, I was communicating with Ashley. We were lining up to interview because I think you had just released your first book.
Yeah, I think it was back in not this year, but early last year.
Yeah, so I got sick like early in January, and it progressively got worse and worse and worse, and then I was I was paralyzed, and I was like in the hospital by June, and I think we were communicating like around either February or March, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And like you had sent me your very first book, the Squatches Say Hello, right?
Yes.
And so I got that, and I gave it to Steven and my nephews, and I think at the time there were like 4. There were 3 going on 4, and they just loved the book. They just loved it, and I've yet to see it again, so I don't know where it's at.
Yeah, they. Sorry, Ashley. They
Hey.
when you give them something important, not important, but like a book or something.
Oh, I know.
It just disappears. It goes into the children's Bermuda Triangle, and you will never see it again.
Yeah, because I was asking them for it.
It does.
Yeah, I was asking them for it, and they go, "I don't know where it's at, Uncle Robert."
Yeah,
but it's okay. But I know we were trying to set this up, and I was lining you up to interview you, like because you were getting ready to release to the second one, right? The Squatches Go Camping.
the long-awaited sequel.
Yes. Yes, I released that one earlier this year. I think it's either the end of February or the first week of March. Too bad I don't know when I released my own books.
It's okay. And then you have a third one out.
I do. It just released on September 12th, so about 2 weeks ago. And that one is more of like just a fun little Halloween themed one. It doesn't really fit with the educational aspect of my other 2. But it was just cute and it came to me, so I wrote it down and drew it out and
Well,
it's out for Halloween.
I have a confession to make. I just read this like 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
He gave me the copy of it, and I read it, and I was doing my Mark Wahlberg impression, reading it.
If you listen to our show, we're always doing impressions all the time. So he was doing
Like,
that.
while she waits, is it okay if I read a line?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. While she waits, Rue has something to do. She likes to carve pumpkins, just a few.
So, but yeah, these books. I mean, they are because like I don't think I've ever seen a Sasquatch kid book.
No.
Are they any at all, Ashley?
I not the one kind of like the ones I write. I haven't seen. You know, I kind of make them towards the younger audience with the the lyrical rhymes and things. I think I've seen one or two like chapter books, for older like middle grade kids.
Okay.
But not ones for the younger kids. I
was just going to ask you what got you into writing books about Bigfoot or for kids. I mean, I am fascinated by that. Just the concept of it.
So, I actually have been writing for a very long time, like 20 years.
Oh.
But I've mostly written a lot of, just fantasy and, kind of like, the young adult and adult genre. I've never published anything with it, and I've kind of gotten this big slump for about 5 to 6 years, not really starting anything or finishing anything. And it's kind of always been like my goal to publish a book. And one day I was just sitting there and I was just thinking about where I was at and with my family. I have my husband and my 3 kids and everything. And we always joke about my husband being related to Bigfoot. And my kids are wild, so I call them my wild Squatchies sometimes. And the story just came to me, and I just felt connected to it and, wrote it out and drew it out. I actually did the first book all on my phone, like drawing, putting it together, publishing it, everything.
Wow.
And I just published it more for myself. Mm-hmm. And when I did that, I started, my mom is in the Georgia Bigfoot group on Facebook, and she shared it. And I started realizing there's actually a lot of people who really like Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I started, sending it out to, the Bigfoot people and you guys. And I sent it to like the Kentucky Bigfoot research group and everything. And they just all really like it. And I'm just like, okay, well, maybe this is my avenue and my calling. So I've made the second one and the third one. And I'm actually working on 2 other children's books, which aren't Bigfoot related, but they're done in that same lyrical rhyme.
Now, did you do like any research? Did you talk to your mom? Did you go to any meetings? Did you like look online? I'm just curious.
Yeah. So actually, if I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't actually sit and do any research. I just used what I knew about Bigfoot. So I absolutely love cryptozoology. Mm-hmm. And I've grown up like since middle school and high school and everything. Like when I was in elementary and stuff, like the Loch Ness Monster was like my favorite. Mm-hmm. I read everything I could about the Loch Ness Monster. And then, getting older, you had all these shows coming on like Monster Quest, Finding Bigfoot, things like that. And that's just sort of what I've watched and what I've learned and reading, about people's, experiences with it and all these documentaries. So I kind of just already kind of knew a little bit about it, more so, I guess, than a person who doesn't know about Bigfoot or watches the shows. Mm-hmm. So, I incorporated all those things in there, and then, it just was embraced by the Bigfoot community, and it made me like really happy. I was like, "Ooh, yay!" I'm connecting with people who share my same interests, and it's been a really, really great experience.
Wow. It's just, cause like some of the stuff in there is like, like the footprints and the gathering of the moss and the branches and stuff. Because I was looking at it, I wonder if she's a researcher. So
Yeah. No. I mean, like even me and my kids now, we watched a couple of the new shows. We'll watch Mountain Monsters. We watched Expedition Bigfoot. And just like a couple of, really not the series, but some of the documentaries, even now about them.
So did your mom influence you at all in any of this, or?
She did not. She was just already a part of, cause we're from Georgia, was just already a part of it. Just from our family's general interest in everything. And, she pushed me more towards the Facebook groups that I just didn't really know that there were so many, believers and enthusiasts, around.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So she, helped me connect with everyone.
So what does your husband think about this? I'm just curious.
Oh, he loves it. So he's tall, he's big, he's furry. One of his nicknames is Joe Baca. And so we always, we just have the jokes like, if you hear something in the woods, oh, it must be his dad, or oh, it must be his uncle, or did you used to do that back when you were living in the woods? Are you on the run from the, scientists and things like that? So we joke about it a lot. And
was Rue your childhood
he thinks
buddy?
It's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say this. It's a cute little Bigfoot. I will say that. The illustration of Rue, because I like the idea. It's actually I wish this book was around whenever I was a kid.
Yeah, well, it's good to hear.
Whenever my uncle would take me out, I was the first. Everybody knows about the bad side of the Sasquatch, which judgmental me as a kid. I was always scared, like, oh, this gonna come out and rip her arms out, and I'm over here. I'm thinking that as a 6-year-old. But if this book was around, I would have been like, well, there's probably some good Bigfoot, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, see, we grew up watching, Harry and the Hendersons. Mm-hmm. And we'll still watch Harry and the Hendersons, even with,
It's a good movie.
Me and my kids. Yeah, so I got 3 kids. One just turned 11. One's 3 and the other one's 2. Okay. And, those are the kids, in the book. That's their names, Zoe, Rue, and Caden.
Oh, okay.
So they're
they're in the book.
They are my wild Squatchies. I promise you. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, like I know, but some parents get a lot of crap for it. But they're leashed children. Like, I have to take them in public. They're on the leash.
Yeah,
they're so crazy, but they're so fun, and it's great because they'll sit there with the book and they go, oh, that's me. That's me in the book, and there's mom, and there's Zoe, or there's brother, there's dad. So they know who their characters are in the book.
Does Rue have like the ponytail too? Like,
she does sometimes.
Oh, wow.
I actually have a picture of her when she's little with her hair up like that.
Oh wow.
She's not liking the hair up much right now. She's in that little rebellious phase, but her hair's just as wild everywhere.
Yeah, I have twin boys, and they can be rebellious. I'll tell you
that.
Yeah, but they like watching Bigfoot stuff too, though. Right?
They do actually. They really they. I think it's funny because if they were to actually see a Bigfoot, they probably wouldn't be scared. They would be like, oh wow, oh okay.
Yeah, they almost whenever we watch a Bigfoot show, they always want us. They always ask the question, when's the Bigfoot coming out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I hear him, but I don't see him. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's the thrill of it. Unfortunately. Like, are they going to see it? And then when they do, there's always that one video where it is a Bigfoot. They say it is. It's running across the field. And it's like, look, you see it? Well, yeah, they're just like infatuated by, well, how come he's not running towards him? Or
there was one time we were watching Alaskan Killer Bigfoot. And
we've watched that. Mm-hmm.
And Sebastian caught something on camera. He says, "Goes rewind it," and we had to rewind it because there's something over there. Look. And he walked over to the TV and he pointed. I go, that is probably something.
Yeah.
And it was kind of how he just caught that. It was kind of amazing.
It was whenever right after the many times they said nunk.
Yeah.
They found that bed.
Yeah.
That big bed, and like off in the corner.
It was ash though, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah. off in the corner there was like something moving, like, and I was like, what is?
Yeah.
Sebastian, I don't know how he caught that.
Yeah, he's pretty good about it.
Yeah, he can. It's funny how you can say, "Hey, can you go pick that up, please?" And they're like, "What? What are you talking about? What?" But they'll spot that or spot like a fly or a gnat.
Yeah,
and like there's a bug.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Kids, they're anyway.
Yeah, they're funny.
Ashley,
There's something else.
yeah,
That's
they
for
are.
sure.
Yeah, they are. Ashley, do you actually believe in Bigfoot? Do you actually think there's what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I believe there's definitely something there. There's been too many, witnesses and stories that all collaborate the same thing. I personally haven't seen Bigfoot, but I also haven't been out really in the woods. So I live up in North Georgia, a little bit above Atlanta. We go camping and things, but we don't go camping like deep in the woods where I would think a Bigfoot would like to be.
What's your county? What's your county?
Cherokee County.
Cherokee.
So,
County.
And I know a little bit up north, there's actually a Bigfoot museum.
To be honest with you, Ashley, I'm looking at and I don't advertise this group, the BFRO, but they have one of the best databases when it comes to sighting reports, and they have 5 incidents in Cherokee County.
Oh, really?
Yep. And
Wow.
I'm pulling it up right now, really quick. There's 2 in 2009. 1 in 2003, 1 in 1993, and 1 in 1987. So whenever you have, like, say for example, 5 incidents in the county, there's probably like 20 more that don't get reported. So anytime you get like 1, there's probably like 10. If you have 5,
wow, well, that's good to know.
There's probably like 30 or 20 because like there's so many people who don't want to talk about it because they feel like ridiculed, for talking about it.
Or they probably don't even know what they just saw. They're
Yeah.
just like, oh yeah.
Yeah, well, that's really neat to know because I've always, like I said, there's the Bigfoot Museum up north of us about an hour or so, and there's a couple other places up north where you start to kind of get into like the Blue Ridge and Smoky Mountain area. Have a lot of sightings that we hear of. There's one place, Helen, Georgia, that's had a couple of sightings, but it's kind of neat knowing there's some in my own backyard.
Yeah, there was one in, I'm probably going to say this wrong, Alatoona Lake.
Oh yeah, Alatoona Lake. That's where I went camping.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
that was in 2009.
Wow.
So they heard a couple heard some screams there. So I was just going to say there's been some sightings there. So.
Well, it sounds like you need to go back, Ashley.
Yeah. Well, when I was in high school, I went camping there. Me and my friend had our own tent, and we heard a lot of loud stomps around our tent one night. And at the time, I thought maybe it was a bear. We were too chicken to actually open up and look out and see what it was, because if it was angry, we didn't want it to attack our tent. But later, I always thought, well, maybe it was Bigfoot, but then I thought, well, no, Alatoona, everybody comes to Alatoona. Bigfoot's not going to want to be around there, but that's, maybe it could have been.
They're very opportunistic. If people leave out food or if people leave food behind or whatever, they'll eat whatever's there. And so, a lot of times they're curious, and probably like the older ones will probably just move on and go to another area. But if you find younger ones, they'll be curious and want to check out people and see what they're doing, and it's just kind of interesting. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, I wish I could go back and tell my younger self to be brave enough to look out open up the tent window and peek out, but
no, because
I really would have wish I would have known.
Yeah, there are bears there, right? There are black bears?
There are, but again, like they don't tend to like to be around people. Very much. We were at a very busy campground, but it was something big because you could hear it walking.
Yeah, because like bears don't normally stomp. They kind of just mosey and and if they're threatened, I mean, they'll stand up and roar and stuff. But I think my mom had like a bear incident like in I think the 50s, and she was in I forgot what state it was. I think it was Indiana or something. And she had an incident, and like she was like, her family was, my mom's family was like picking parsley and something else, and there was something like screaming in the woods, and they were all yelling "Oso," which is bear, and they were running, and they ran away. And I told my mom, I said, "Bears don't scream, Mom."
Yeah.
I mean, they roar, but they scream. I go, if they'll avoid humans. I said, I go, it was probably like a Bigfoot, because it was like you were in its food, and you were in the way, so he was screaming to get you out of there. So, but anyway, that's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I don't mess with bears. No, I don't.
Yeah, and that's what my younger self was thinking, was it was a bear, and I wasn't gonna make it attack my tent.
Yeah, no.
Regardless, but
no, thank you. I don't care if it's a grizzly bear, brown bear, black bear. No. Polar bear.
yeah.
So, these other books, they're not going to be Bigfoot. They're going to be just kids' books, or
They're not. One is gonna be about my son Caden. We adopted him. So it's going to be a story about adoption, different books that parents can kind of read and explain the adoption process. It's going to be called Heartborn. And the idea behind it is some babies aren't born from bellies, they're born from the heart.
Wow, made me cry.
And yeah.
I know I feel kind of choked up right now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, and then another one, it's called The Little Wizard, and it's actually inspired by my younger brother. If you can believe it, he's 12, almost 13. So there's a big age difference behind it. And he's always joking it needs a wizard, and like one of my stories or something. And I'm like, "Yeah, do you like it?" He's like, "Yeah, but it needs a wizard," or something like that. So I was like, "Fine, I'll make you a story about a wizard." So,
little wizard. I'm surprised.
So it's a little wizard. So
I'm surprised you haven't done any kids' books on the Loch Ness monster. What's going on with that?
I have plans to do that.
Okay. As long as there's plans.
I don't have anything down, but I do have plan to start making more children's books about different cryptids. And I actually am working on a middle grade series that the first book should be released sometime next, probably late spring. It's almost finished. It is going to be about cryptids, and the first one is going to be about the story of the Wendigo, which I know is sometimes some people say it's cryptid, sometimes it's not. But in this story, it's an actual creature. And it's going to kind of be, different series about encounters with different cryptids.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that one.
Is this like from a perspective like to help people whenever they see these creatures, or
is it a story?
It's just more of a story, like
Okay.
a kind of a, an adventure kind of. I don't want to say
right
horror, but
right.
it's kind of, to me, it's going to be kind of like a Goosebumps flair. It's like a little chiller, the middle grade kids can read.
Right, because I was just going to say, because like the Wendigo, man, that has a bad rap. Like,
yeah,
really,
it does.
really bad.
It does.
So anytime you hear about it, it's always like negative. It's like a supernatural, or it's like cannibal, or it's like it's just like skinny and bare bones and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a monumental task to make that. Not so scary stuff.
Not so scary.
Yeah, it is. It is. I've been dragging my feet with this one because I want to treat it right. So
that is so good. I love that so much.
Yeah.
So
but
you said
I plan to have other cryptids in there, like the Mothman, Chupacabra, the the Lakeland Frogman, things like that.
Yeah. Okay.
I was gonna say, you said you've been writing for 20 years. What was like your first story, or your first book? So
the first one I wrote was in high school, and it is more fantasy. It's, elves, dragons, fighting medieval things. I was very heavily influenced by Lord of the Rings that came out when I was in high school.
I love Lord of the Rings.
I do too. I actually watched it like a week or so ago. It's like one of my all-time favorite
Have you been
movies.
watching The Rings of Power?
I have.
Okay, good. Because I like the show. I don't know if people are saying like, it's not Lord of the Rings. I mean, it is.
I think people need to give it a chance. I think the last couple episodes have been picking up, to where I'm starting to feel more connected to the characters.
Right.
Yeah, I do too.
The first two, I think it was just so spread out. It was kind of hard to connect to each little story, but now it's picking up and it's getting together, and I'm really enjoying it. And my daughter enjoys it too. She really likes
Nori.
Galadriel.
Oh, Galadriel.
So so I think that's important to her to have a main female character.
Yeah. I really like Nori's character.
Yes. I do too. Yeah. I was really I didn't see today's episode, but I was really upset the last episode they didn't have any Harfoots.
Yeah, I noticed that they didn't
I was like, there's none where they...
It was mostly Galadriel and oh man, what's his name?
What's his name?
The elf that he didn't escape. They let him go.
Yeah, the one that's I can't remember his name, but he's with Bronwyn.
Yeah, Andor,
the human girl.
Andor. God, I can't. I'm over here thinking of Andor, the show that just came out in Disney Plus. It starts with an A. I know that, but yes, definitely. It's picking up. I can see why people thought that the first two episodes were slow, but I mean, it's definitely Lord of the Rings. I get it. The music, I get it from the music. I get it from the I guess the shots of the land and all that stuff, and then just everything about dwarves and everything. I loved it. But
it does. I love the dwarf scenes.
Yes.
They always make me smile. It warms my heart.
So, any of those books that I guess the first book, have you tried to get that published, or did you already get it published?
I haven't published any of them. They were just kind of like for just me writing because I enjoyed to write.
Okay.
I started maybe a couple years ago, probably about 10 years ago, working on something to publish, but I just kept getting in the slump over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's when I came up with the children's books. And I think maybe that's kind of what I've been focusing on this whole time. I feel more at ease writing them. Things come to me more naturally.
Okay.
I've had, a big background in art, so I love illustrating the pages.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just kind of took me kind of going through that process to get to where I'm at.
Okay. All righty.
Yeah, I really like that. I was just going to ask you because I'm inspiring to write a Bigfoot book. So
yeah.
I want to write one. Like I want to write it about my I guess whenever I got into Bigfoot and how I came up to it and the people I met and just like the groups I've interacted with and the people I try to help along the way. But I don't know anything about writing or publishing or anything like that. So I was really wanting to talk to you, and I was wanted to see.
Yeah,
I wanted to pick your brain a little bit. So
yeah.
what he talks about too is what I've always wanted. I've written some stuff, but just for me.
Yeah.
But I've always been like, I don't know, discouraged because I've always heard like it's a nightmare to get something published or stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, what is the process on that? I guess.
Yeah, well, it can be. It was a pretty big headache to learn. I will tell you that. It all really depends on how you want to go. It's like, do you want to be independent and self-publish, or do you want to try to go with a publishing company and be traditionally published? With self-publishing, the hardest part is you got to learn everything. You got to learn how to format it. You got to learn how to upload it and all the different just places. Like I can upload it on Amazon. I can upload it on Barnes & Noble. There's another website resource that is called Ingram Spark, where you can upload it and it distributes it to all the different book wholesalers where they can buy it and place it in their stores. It's available that way. But like I said, you got to learn how to kind of do it all yourself. And each different one kind of has different formatting rules. So for example, my children's books is at 8.5 by 8.5. Amazon likes it a little bit bigger. So there's some cutoff when they cut the pages straight. Barnes & Noble doesn't. So you kind of have to have all these different files for it. And then the hard challenge I hear with getting traditionally published is, just finding the agent to represent you and finding a company that'll take on your book and publish it. So it's, you got a pretty good fan base with your podcasts and everything. So self-publishing may be the way to go if you are wanting it to get it in front of people who like Bigfoot and enjoy Bigfoot and believe in Bigfoot. But it's a lot of learning, and there's resources to help you. If you have trouble formatting, you can always hire somebody that can format things for you or edit things for you. One of the biggest things is making sure you have a good book cover, because the book cover sells.
Got it.
Yeah, because not there at the book cover yet. But yeah, I mean, I've written a story I honestly have not actually finished because I have a severe writer's block. I don't know how to end it. And I've always... one of my favorite authors is obviously Stephen King.
Yes.
And I think I got one of his audiobooks where how he says how he writes and finishes a story, and he just says it's not helping. It's because he's done it so many times. He's like, just write it, and don't change the ending. Just end it the way your brain lets it. Like, and I'm all like, no, that's not, because my brain is going this way and this way and this way to make it leave it open or just to end it right there.
Yeah. What if you just write it and then, like, if you don't like it, go back and change it, or just? I
mean, I did. I wrote it and I was like, I don't like this ending. At all. It's very cheesy.
That's one of the things I've struggled with when I was writing my other fantasy books and stuff is how to end it, and it's hard because it's like, does it keep going or what? And I've read a couple books and things, and one of the biggest advices that I really take to heart, and I wrote it down and have it up where I work, is don't stop, write the next sentence. Because if you stop and you don't write, nothing's I got caught in that for years. In this it's like this delay where you're just blocked and you don't know what to do, and then you start overthinking and you start self-doubting, and you just get frozen up and don't ever finish.
That's me right there.
Yeah,
that's me, because I think I started writing the story like 2010, and here I am probably 200 pages in, and I'm all like, how the F? Actually, it's 100 pages because I scrapped another 100 pages because it was I didn't like how it was leading up to. I was like, nope, I'm deleting all that because it's just no.
I would have kept it. I would have kept it.
I mean, I didn't delete it. I copied it where I left off and did another file of it.
Yeah.
But because it's I don't know how authors do it, and I love reading. And one of those like authors like Stephen King has always inspired me to write, because he just constantly writes. He never has a writer's block. I think he released like 3 books this year alone, and I'm all like, stop.
He's like a machine.
I know. I don't know if you've heard of Brandon Sanderson. But he writes a lot of fantasy books, and he came out this year He was traditionally published, and I think he's starting to go the self-published route. He did like a Kickstarter. It made like 15 million in one day.
Oh,
And
wow.
he has like two series and like 4 books he's currently working on that's going to be ready in like 2 years or something like that. It is crazy. He's just pumping them out. And I'm just like, how?
Wow.
The way, the Way of the Kings.
I
Skyward.
think he's wrote that, and he's I think Mistborn is one of his earlier series that's very popular. And I think he helped finish The Wheel of Time. I think the original author passed away, and he helped finish that series too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to get back into some not the traditional sci-fi fantasy stuff like, Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones. A couple people have told me to get into, I always butcher the name because the way they said it, I was like, wait, what? According to Guns N' Roses, A Court of Thorns and Roses?
I've heard of that. I haven't personally sat down and read that one, but I know that one's very popular.
It's very popular.
This year I've actually kind of been in, like, I love the Alien franchise, and I've been reading a lot of those books. So I've been reading, this year I've read Cold Forge, Phalanx, and I think one's like River of Sorrows or something like that. But I read about 4 or 5 different Alien books.
Nice.
And I like that franchise.
I was just going to tell you also, I'm actually writing, my older brother has a comic book that he's doing called El Gato Negro. And
Okay, the Black Cat.
yes, and he started like in '92 or something, so he's been doing that for a while, and I think he's either going to be picked up by I can't remember, Apple TV or Netflix.
I think it's
Oh, wow.
So he's getting ready to get picked up, and so I have been trying to approach him about this for a while, and I've been wanting to write for him, but he's like, he holds that character like really close to his chest, and so anytime I would talk to him about it, he would just like not talk to me, just say, I gotta go or something. And so,
Yeah.
and so
They become our babies.
yes. And so finally I think it was like the year before I got sick, I wrote a 4-issue series for him, and I just wrote it, and then I sent it to him. And he read it, and he goes, I love it. He goes, can you write more? I go, of course. So he gave me this character that because he does this, his company's called Azteca Productions. And so he had a character, an Aztec warrior, that he wanted to introduce to his readers and stuff. So he approached me and goes, hey, I want to do this story on Tanatu, the sun god, the Aztec sun god. He goes, can you write it? And he was drawing this character when I was a kid. And I used to always ask him all the time, I go, what's his power? I used to always ask him that. And he goes, he has powers of the sun. That's what he would tell me. And so he was asking me, he goes, hey, do you want to write this story? I go, yeah, which one? He goes, Tanatu. I go, powers of the sun? He goes, yes. I go, okay. So I started writing it, and then I got sick. And so I think I wrote the first like 2 issues, and then I got sick, and then I was out. I mean, I'm serious. I was out like for like 9 months. I was paralyzed. I had to learn how to walk all over again. And so I'm finishing up the 4th issue right now, because traditionally comic books are like 22 pages.
Right.
And so I finished it, and I gave it to him, and he goes, oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you, I needed 32 pages. And I go, okay. So, I think writing comic books and writing the book is like way different, because because you write the panels. You write, like, you describe the panel, and then you write what's going to be in the panel, and you kind of like lead the artist how you want it to visualize and look. And so I'm writing this end story, and like I was like Steven, I was like thinking about 3 different places. Okay, this is how I want it. Okay, I know how I want it to end. I just got to get there. And so what I was doing is I was writing an outline for each page. Like I wrote an outline and say, okay, on this page I want this. On this page I want to introduce this. I want to emphasize that. I want to bring this out. Blah blah blah. And so I think by doing that, it kind of helped me a little bit writing the story. So I'm almost done. I have like 6 more pages to write, and but I'm really, really excited about that. So whenever I had the opportunity to get you back, to get you on, I was real excited. Number one, I wanted to pick your brain and see how your process was, and so I mean, I don't know. I mean, having you on here is like, inspiring. So
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
But yep. The best thing you can do is just write that next sentence.
Yeah, I need to
You can always go back and fix it, but just write it.
I need to find the file. And I didn't even know this too. Like apparently I could be wrong. Stephen King has an editor.
does he?
Yeah, he has. I guess you have all that money, you can afford that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
he's like, I don't even worry. He goes, I don't even worry about. He says his wife is his editor too, so she'll read it and she goes, "Oh my God, rewrite that page, please.
Yeah.
Rewrite it because I didn't understand a frick of that one sentence right there."
Yes.
And he has an editor, so I guess they get paid just to read the book and fix any like grammar errors and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, because I used to always think you have to do that yourself. I mean, you kind of do. That's
what I do. So.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah.
Of it.
Well, when you don't have a lot of money like Stephen King, you kind of have to do it yourself.
Exactly. So I was like, he's already there. Of course, he can do that. But yeah, because I remember reading one of my old pages, and I was like, where was I going with this?
Yeah.
I overly described a bottle. I don't know why.
Was it a run-on sentence?
It was a run-on sentence. It had everything wrong. Run-on sentence, no proper grammar. It was all, and I don't know why. The whole page was describing a bottle, and I was like, I think I can probably eliminate.
Maybe it was a sexy bottle.
I don't know. I forgot what I think it was a tequila bottle. I don't know. Like, what does this tequila bottle have to do with
whether it was sexy?
I guess. Yeah. Oh man, that's terrible. That makes me cringe.
Ashley, I was going to ask you because I'm kind of lazy right now, so I'm utilizing Google Suites,
Okay.
Google Docs and stuff like that. So I'm doing because I at the time I think when I was writing I just didn't have any money for like Word or anything like that. So I'm using.
Hang on, I think I lost you there for a minute.
Uh-oh.
You said you were using Google Docs.
Yeah, I was using Google Docs and. Like at the time when I started writing, I didn't have a lot of money, so I couldn't buy Word. I was on a tight budget, and so I couldn't buy Word or Microsoft or anything like that. So I just started using Google Docs, and I find it very like fulfilling, and I can share it a lot easier. And if the power goes off, it's still there.
You can still work on it. It has offline mode. So. And I use Google Docs.
Okay.
I don't have Word, to be honest. So,
Word.
So, what I like about it is I do a lot of work on my tablet. But if I'm like out and about, or and a thought just comes to me or something, I can just open my phone and open Google Docs and plug it in too.
Wow.
It's all there. So.
So you're saying I need to get Google Docs?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because mine's on Word. The whole story is on Word. Honestly, if it gets lost, I would gladly rewrite it in a different mindset.
You can transfer it on there. I
could, but I kind of don't want to. It's cringy. I might just grab a pillow or something for 2 pages or something. I don't know. I was like, I want to get the reader's attention, but not, yeah.
Okay, I wanted to ask you that because I was kind of curious about what format you're using, and so I was I feel good now. So
yeah. Well, most of my pages are drawn and everything, so I use an art program on my tablet. But I format everything. I have an Apple tablet. I format everything on Pages. Which is, I mean, I really don't know anything about Apple, to be honest. I got the tablet for the art program.
Right.
So,
it's been working wonders, right?
Yeah, it's been great. I love it.
Yeah.
But there's a program that's called Pages, which is supposed to be kind of like their version of Word. There's nothing like Word at all.
Nope.
In the design and the format and everything, and that's how I format the book. And it's a little bit easier than a text formatting, from what I understand. I haven't formatted a text book yet, because of the Pages I draw them to size of the size of the book, and it's kind of easy to match all that up. But I know a lot of people they'll use Pages, they'll use Google Docs. Some people still use Word to format for uploading a text, like a book that has mostly text in it.
So do you do all your artwork on the Apple or the Apple deal?
I do now, yes. So the first book I did, I had a Samsung Note that had the pen, and I used an art program that I had available, and I did it all on my phone. Wow, I mean, because you look like you're a pretty good artist. Well, thank you. I don't like to toot my own horn with that, but I took like 8 art classes in high school. That's where I hung out most of the time, was in the art class. So, and I've had a couple things, put on display here and there, but I'm not as serious as some people would be with art. I mean, it's pretty good. You can tell what the Bigfoots are, and you can see like the footprint's good, and
Rue is adorable.
Thank you.
Rue is adorable. Even with the sharp teeth, I was all like, "Oh, she's got sharp teeth. I didn't even notice."
Yeah.
But no, seriously, it's that program looks awesome. Like, I don't even know. I am an Apple user. I'm trying to get my uncle Robert here to switch over to Apple. He still has his Samsung.
That's okay.
I'll just say this:
I'm Samsung on everything else.
Yeah.
So if they would have had this art program on a Samsung tablet, that's what I would have got. But it's not. It's only on Apple. So, and it's nice because they have the Apple Pen, which is like a stylus, and it works like a pen with the program. So that makes it really nice.
I'm pretty sure that thing was expensive, though.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
But yeah, you got to spend money to make money.
I was going to ask, are you going to do like T-shirts and stuff?
I've thought about maybe what I really would like to do is make some plushies.
Okay.
Ooh.
I can totally
trying
see
to explore that. Yeah, avenue. It hasn't really been fruitful yet.
Okay.
A lot of the plushie makers that I've reached out to are wanting like $50 to $60 per plushie, and I'm like, well, I can't turn around and sell a Bigfoot plushie for $80.
Yeah.
So it's kind of been hard to find a distributor, or even a maker to make them. But I would really like to make or get some kind of plushies to go with the books.
You should do like a Kickstarter page to fund it, and then that way you can just get it and then sell it the way you want to, or you have it made expensively, whatever, and then sell it the way you want. I mean, that's just my think outside the box. But are you going to attend like any like Bigfoot conferences and set up a table or?
Yes.
Nice.
So I have that in the plans next year.
Okay.
There is a couple up in Tennessee. There's one, it's the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival.
Okay.
And then there's a Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference that I would really like to go to. I tried to go last year, but it just didn't work out timing wise. That, and then I think there is one in Florida and Alabama that I'm watching.
Yeah, we just interviewed Miss Dumont with Mid Florida Bigfoot researchers. And I think she was at a couple conferences in Florida.
Yeah, there was a really big one in Lakeland, Florida.
Yeah.
I think it was in January, and I found out about it after the fact. So I have it on my list.
You're gonna make me start emailing you like conferences and stuff now.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Or recent sightings.
Yeah.
And what is it? What county is it?
Cherokee.
Cherokee. Okay. All right. Yeah, we need to keep an eye on that.
Actually, we've been going an hour. I think I can make a show with this.
Okay. How do our listeners find your books and stuff? So I do have a Facebook page. It's Ashley Marie Davis. I think the at Books by Ashley. You can also find them on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. The books, you can just type in the Squatches.
Okay.
Any of them should pop up, but the names are the Squatches Say Hello, the Squatches Go Camping, and the Squatches Roo Says Boo.
Okay. Whenever we do publish this, I'll add all your links to it. That way, people, whenever they listen to the episode, they can just find you like right away. But in case people are not, in case you're like driving and you can't click on the link, you can at least hear where your link's at, and they can go find you.
All right, perfect.
Quick question, Ashley, before you leave. I noticed the pattern here on the Squatches. Is there going to be a Christmas one?
There is.
Really?
Yeah. It is, and it's going to be about giving, because I know Squatches can leave presents.
Okay.
It's funny that you say that.
Uh-huh.
It's funny you say that because
I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
Like I was gonna say, if you listen to our show, and I'm not adding pressure to you, but if you have, like in the past, I used to research in Lamar County, and it's Paris, Texas, and I used to go out in the woods, and like I was an independent researcher, and I would go out and like whatever there was in the area, like I don't know, like if someone was growing squash or watermelon or anything, persimmons or just Mexican plums, I would take them and I would walk way in the woods, and I would leave them in a crook of a tree, and I would walk off, and I wouldn't tell anybody that I was doing that. And I would go, with my other researcher buddies, and we'd go do something else, and I would go back the next day, and there would always be something there. There would always be something back. It would be like a shiny rock, or like some herbs or some flowers, and even a couple of times there was like a dead bird in there.
Oh, wow.
So they would leave stuff back with me all the time, and I wouldn't tell anybody, and I wouldn't post it at the time because I didn't want to get made fun of, and I thought that was kind of strange. Like, oh man, they're actually leaving me stuff. And so they used to do it all the time. So whenever you said that, it kind of hit a trigger with me. So
yeah. Yeah, well, I do plan on making one about that, because I've heard, other stories about the gifts, especially with the rocks, that they'll leave pretty rocks and things.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming out not this Christmas, but probably next Christmas.
All right.
And not to add any more pressure, but is there going to be a Thanksgiving one too?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. I haven't really thought about that one. Sort of because my Roo Says Boo's the fall themed one. But who knows?
You should like alternate. Do a Thanksgiving one next year, and then not do a Halloween one. I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah, you did. You did the Halloween one, unless you want to do it. Roo does something else with Halloween. But that's your idea. But yeah, no, I like the Halloween theme because it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
So before we get off, I need a big favor from you.
Okay.
Can you do a soundbite for me?
A soundbite?
Yes. Can you say,
okay,
hey, this is Ashley Davis, and you're listening to the Bigfoot Club podcast?
Yes, I can do that. Let me know when you're ready.
Whenever you are.
Okay. This is Ashley Davis, and you're listening to the Bigfoot Club podcast.
One take.
Man, we're on a roll.
We're on a roll.
Now, if you're going to ask me to do a take, I'll be like,
yeah. Because we usually do like promos before our episode drops, and like it always takes us like 2-3 takes to do it. So we're always screwed up. And like we just interviewed a bunch of Australian guys, like 5 in a row, and they all did one take. And like usually,
okay, cool.
Yeah, like so usually like other people they take like 3 or 4. Oh, I messed up. I gotta say it again.
Yeah.
So
Australians, they know what they're doing.
and Ashley Davis.
Yes.
Well, how was this? Because this has been my first podcast as well.
Oh, really?
Being recorded on one.
Really?
So, yes.
Oh, okay.
It was good. I was good.
If you didn't say anything, I wouldn't say, oh, she's been on the podcast before.
Yeah, I was gonna. I was just gonna say in the very beginning. I go, hey, how many podcasts have you done? And I just didn't ask the question because the way you were talking and the way your demeanor, it just seemed like you were a natural at it.
Yeah, you've been on the podcast before. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
So,
But no,
No,
you haven't.
no.
Well, that's awesome that you were here at the Bigfoot Club podcast. Well,
I'm
that's an honor.
glad. I'm glad we made this happen.
yes, and I'm sorry it took so long. And you were persistent, and I loved it. So
Yep.
you just kept reaching out to me, and I go, and I think I emailed you once. I hadn't forgot about you.
Yeah.
I know. I did. I think. Oh gosh, I think I missed that one too.
Wow.
I think when you emailed me and my family had COVID or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And I found it like 2 months later, and I was like, "Oh no!"
Because like it was like last year was pretty tough. It was you
Yeah.
know I was down like in end of May, and I was completely paralyzed in June. And I was able to finally start walking like in September. I was on a walker, and in October I was on a cane. In December I got released to go back to work, and so it's been just like a slow process. It was like, man, it hit me all really hard at once, and it stopped my heart, and like I died for 7 minutes and came back.
Oh my
and
goodness.
So it was pretty intense.
I was
and
about to
so-
say, did she know about this, or you just giving her the cliff notes?
I think I'm just giving her a cliff notes.
Oh,
But
okay.
I did tell her I was
Wow.
sick. I did tell you I was sick on the email, right? I was
Yeah,
out.
you did, and I'm really glad you made it and
Oh,
had a
trust
really
me, I am-
good
I am-
recovery.
I am happy like that he's because my world was flipped upside down, and I don't know why I'm singing Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But yeah, no, it was so when you hear 7 minutes, it's not something
Yeah.
that, like
Yeah.
I've heard. I think I've heard like maybe like 2 minutes,
Your brain swells at 3.
Yeah.
at 3 minutes. So
Yeah.
I was all like,
Yeah, I've heard like about like the 7 to 8 minute mark without oxygen's kind of it. So
Yeah.
I'm really glad
Yeah, I went.
you overcame that.
It was kind of weird because I woke up. I was in a coma, and I had like a ventilator on, so I couldn't really talk. So I woke up, and
goodness.
my older brother was there, and he was saying, he goes, "Hey, are you? Do you know where you're at? Are you okay? Do you know where you're at?" And I do this thing. I do this like too sweet thing with my fingers. You know, it's like it looks like a hook 'em horns, but it's not.
Is
Yeah.
it like the shaka kind of thing?
I think so.
kind of.
So it's
Is it like you hold your pinky out and your thumb and kind of shake it?
well, it almost looks like a hook 'em horns, but your thumb and your two index fingers are extended.
Yeah, touching your thumb, and then your pinky and your pointer finger.
Yeah.
Pointer fingers up like a horn.
Okay.
And so I raised that up, and I said, and because I used to do that to everybody, too sweet.
Too sweet.
And my brother goes, yes, he's here. So it like I was worried about rent. I go, I was writing down on a piece of paper. I go, what's today's date? I go, the 1st. I go, I got to pay rent. And so, they kind of knew right away. I said, oh, well, his brain's there, so he's good.
And after you had the ventilator taken off and you had your Sierra Mist, you were like in love.
Yeah. I was dreaming about Sierra Mist the whole time. I was in like waking up. I go, can I please have a Sierra Mist?
Yeah. So little things like that you
Yeah,
take
it's
for
like-
granted.
It was like champagne or something. I don't know. But anyway,
Fancy.
Ashley, we've enjoyed immensely having you on. Oh my God.
Well, good. I'm glad. I'm glad I could make it. I'm glad I could talk to you guys. I really enjoyed this too.
Whenever you're ready to release another book, please come back on.
Okay.
So
All right.
thank you for coming on. I will let you know whenever I post this, so I will message you, and I'll get those links from you whenever we have an opportunity, okay?
All right. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and you have a nice weekend.
You too.
Okay, bye.
Alrighty. Bye.
Bye-bye.